Welcome to the Cyborg Vlog. Today I wanted to talk to you about why it took me nearly 3 weeks to get in for my pacemaker implant surgery. About 3 weeks passed between the time I was told I needed to get the pacemaker and the time I actually got in to have the implant surgery. And part of that was my fault. I wanted to get the second opinion, and that chewed up a lot of time between scheduling the appointment with the second cardiologist and also actually getting up there and talking to him and deciding what to do. That blew about a whole week. And then once I finally did get my surgery date, I came down with a bad cold and a cough and I had 102 fever the day of my surgery. So I called the doctor who's going to be performing the surgery, and he decided that it would be best to postpone, because with that high of a fever, if something would happen where I'd get an infection, they wouldn't be able to tell if the infection was caused by my cold, the fever that I previously had, or if I did have some kind of bacterial infection. So they decided to postpone for 2 days. Well, that was very close to Christmas, and the second surgery date I was no better, and that was about 2 days before Christmas. So they told me we're going to have to go ahead and wait and postpone again till after the holiday and make that the following Tuesday. So that whole time, when we're trying to enjoy Christmas and have time with the family and all that, I have this worry in the back of my mind about this pending surgery that I have. But, I figured I'd lived with it for this long. Every night when I went to sleep, I was kind of nervous, what if something happened. It would kind of be bad for everybody if I died on Christmas. But
still not funny.
All jokes aside, I was a little worried, and I figured I'd lived with it this long. It'd always start beating on its own again. Sure, it was bad, but just had to make it through a few more days, get over the cold I had, have that fever break so I can get in for the surgery. So the kind of crazy thing that happened with the third attempt was, because we'd been going back and forth with the times with the doctor office, they would just give me a time to report for the surgery. So this time they told me 1 o'clock. So I said, okay, we live about an hour away, so my wife is driving me up. We were an hour and a half early on the road, so we'd get there about half hour early to find parking and get into admitting. And then I thought I'd still have 2 hours after that before the surgery in order to get everything prepped. Well, what I didn't know was they had mistakenly told me the actual time of the surgery, not the time I needed to report to the hospital. So on the way, about a half an hour out from the hospital, I got a phone call that said, "Hey, are you coming for the surgery today or not?" And I told the nurse, "Yeah, I thought I had to be there at 1 for a 3 o'clock surgery." And she said, "Nope, you're wrong. The surgery is scheduled for 1. You need to get here as soon as possible." So my wife, still trying to drive safely, made it there as quickly as possible. And I got to the admitting room about 10 minutes before 1 when they wanted me in the OR. So they still let me in, even though they kind of questioned it. And in my next video, I'll go ahead and talk about what it was like in the prep area for surgery, my experience through surgery, what I remember, what I felt, and how I felt immediately after the procedure when I was coming out of the anesthesia.
Subscribe now. Resistance is futile.